two. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to this is the second edition of Image Source's Livestream Summer Series. I'm Tricia Thompson, Director of Marketing, and today our topic is Personal Protective Equipment, or PPE for short. As many of you know, in the past several months, everybody knows in the past several months, PPE has become really part of our everyday life. What's probably the most visible part of the new normal. And so we're going to talk about that today, and how Image Source can help. Joining me, as always, is Jeff Holt, VP of Sales and Marketing at Image Source. Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, good morning, and thanks everybody for taking the time to be with us on this live stream today. PPE is a category that really, if you go back 3 months or so, 4 months, it was not really relevant or not even part of our collective consciousness. So now it's a growing category for Image Source. And our clients certainly are driving a lot of this. It's something that every one of us needs until the pandemic is over, hopefully sooner than later, and it'll last beyond that as well. At least that's what the indications are showing.
Jeff, I think you're right, and so I'm glad we're talking about this today. But it wouldn't be an Image Source meeting unless I kick it off with a good swag giveaway. So today, in honor of our subject of PPE, we are going to be giving away a PPE kit to the first person who types in their full name and their email address, and Sydney's going to let us know who that is near the question and answer series at the end of the meeting. What today's kit is a soapbox soap kit from one of our premier partners, Gemline. Soapbox Soap is pretty amazing. They're a team that is really one of the social kind of give back teams. For every bottle or bar of soap that you buy from them, they're giving a bottle or bar of soap to communities in need. So we really love that. Stay clean, wash your hands. We've got the Image Source hand sanitizer, and then also brand new on the scene, our team hasn't even seen these yet, the Image Source mask. We've got our Sasquatch version, and then we have our little bit more subtle Image Source version. So like I said, first person that gets your full name in there and your email address is going to get that kit. So with that, I'm going to kick off with questions and get this meeting started. So Jeff, PPE, personal protective equipment, new to us. What really is it? I mean, what are the pieces? What does it consist of? How do we define it?
Right. Yeah. New to us certainly, but over the last three months or so, we've really kind of each become an expert in our own way on PPE. PPE is short for personal protective equipment. I think you may have mentioned that at the very top, and it's a broad umbrella kind of definition for lots of different items that are becoming really prevalent in today's society, such as masks, that everyone is wearing, or most everyone is wearing. So that's one element of it. The clear plastic barriers you see at the grocery store and at retail is another element of PPE. It's also gloves, gowns, infrared thermometers, and even little multi-tools, that reduce the need to touch everyday items like doorknobs, keypads. So PPE is an amazingly growing category, and obviously it's all fueled by the pandemic.
Gotcha. So I think, and like you said, we're all getting used to seeing this. Everybody knows the Image Source as a branded merchandise partner. The t-shirts, the giveaways at trade shows, the branded swag items. Our client partners might not necessarily think of us for PPE. Mm-hmm. Why would I, as a client, reach out to Image Source for these important items?
Yeah. For sure. Really early on, if you think, maybe mid-March, early April, early on, and actually still to some extent now, most of the PPE was limited to blank items, and like the hospital style, the medical style masks, disposable masks, gloves, and other barriers were blank. They weren't branded, so you wouldn't I think typically think of ImageSource because we're a branded merchandise agency for those type of items. But really, the reason you should think about ImageSource is our supply chain has quickly adjusted to meet the huge demand for PPE items. I have to give credit to the industry. They have our supplier base. They saw that need, and they have quickly provided us with the tools to bring to our clients for their own protection, not only for their employees, but for their customers. The shift has been really since then has been to branded items. Masks are a really good example of that. In fact, I've got one to show from a very large retailer you may recognize. So the branding and the ability to decorate on these masks has really brought some more personality into into an item that maybe at first seemed a little scary, and it's starting to become part of some companies' uniform programs. You think hospitality, you think service industry, restaurants, and other businesses that serve kind of a high volume of in-person customers. You're seeing are masked. They're all masked up, and so it is becoming a part of a uniform program. Not just PPE, but it's part of what they wear, and probably will be wearing ongoing for quite some time.
Jeff, that makes sense. I saw my guys the other day at the QFC wearing QFC branded masks, and
yeah.
it makes sense that is really a part of the uniform and something that kind of carries with us.
For sure.
So Jeff, you touched on the fact that the supply chain has really done a good job of shifting gears. They're producing more PPE. What that makes me wonder is, are they producing more PPE instead of the usual promotional merchandise? And have we seen goods of what we're used to seeing kind of go by the wayside?
Yeah, well, we're still a promotional merchandise agency. We're still a branded merchandise agency. So that's what we do at our core. And while PPE has become a huge product category and a very large percentage of our overall sales over the last 3 months have been in PPE items, it hasn't replaced. Our entire industry has done a good job of seeing the need for PPE, and like you said, shifting gears production of these things. But we're still a promotional merchandise agency at our core, and that's why I think the shift to branded items is a really good thing for us and for our clients as well. The first wave, and maybe that's not the right term, but the first item to really start gaining resonance with our clients were sanitizers. You recall the initial blitz on hand sanitizers, and they were cleared out at retail. They're since you can see them on store shelves again. And this is one item that we're used to selling as a branded merchandise item. That was right in our wheelhouse already, and we had done a lot of that. And since that initial rush on sanitizers, the entire category has really expanded in terms of what our everyday corporate clients need. And our supply chain has really moved their focus to meet this new demand.
Okay, good. So I can still have all of my other things and put PPE in my kit with it when I'm sending it, when my team is, maybe thinking of going back to work. Speaking of that, with things opening up across the country at different time frames and different levels, but people trying to kind of get back to new normal, what are some of the items that have been in high demand? Can we help with those? How are people using those? What does that look like maybe now as things are opening?
Right. Well, as far as what's the hottest, the trending item, masks are by far the hottest item going right now. And when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Everyone needs them. In fact, everyone needs several of them. So you can, have them in rotation, wash them, and all that good stuff. So And really, initially the whole mask thing was a little scary. Including for me, I wasn't sure if this was something that we wanted to really get into. But as time has gone on, masks have really shown to help slow the spread of the virus, and they've become really ubiquitous in our society. So, at first, like I talked about a little bit before, we're helping clients with kind of the disposable medical style, unbranded, and we can still do those. However, the shift really has been to fabric styles that can be decorated with, creative, full color artwork that, brings a level of personality and style to the masks. We've done several projects for clients, like Microsoft, Amazon, T-Mobile, and others that display really fun, creative designs on everyday wear masks. And just makes an everyday essential PPE item a little more approachable and a little bit more fun. Another really hot item right now really kind of helps with social distancing, and that's another activity that's been credited with flattening the curve. In this case, we're helping clients with items such as large format stickers and other appliques that could be placed on the floor or walls to remind everybody to keep their distance from one another and slow the spread. It's the graphics you see like at the grocery store is a good example of this. We're also helping clients with the acrylic barriers that separate people in checkout lines. So kind of those items that you wouldn't necessarily think of ImageSource as being a supplier for or a resource for, but we have access to terrific factories for all those types of items.
Jeff, it seems like, I think in the past it's been one of those things that maybe people didn't know that we could help with trade show booths and tools and tables, right, and all of that kind of physical stuff. It seems like maybe a lot of the social distancing stuff is more in that wheelhouse, and it makes sense to tag your ImageSource team for that. So Efficacy and, how do things work and that kind of stuff, I know is often a question for folks. A lot of, you've shown some masks, we've talked about it, a lot of different styles. Hand sanitizer, does it have the right alcohol content? What is the right alcohol content? And all of that. I know those are questions that we have definitely come across. Can you talk a little bit about, the efficacy, or how can we learn more and make sure that we're able, that our teams have the information that they need? Right.
And that's really important, because information is what everybody's looking for when it comes to purchasing PPE and what do they need, what do they don't. And I'm no scientist, but we have done a lot of research on this topic, and we've put a ton of great information on our website. You can find a link to this at the very top. If you go to the homepage, imagesourceteam.com, and click right at the very top, we've included a lot of great information from the CDC, on masks. We've put together helpful guidelines on different items like sanitizers, social distancing, signage, barriers, and a lot more. Specifically on masks, because that is kind of the most trending item right now. There is an efficacy guide that differentiates the level of protection that each type of mask and other kind of face coverings can provide. And there's a ton of great information there for anyone interested in learning more. Excuse me. Again, just go to imagesourceteam.com. Right at the very top of the page, click the link, and you'll be able to see all that great information.
Perfect. I know I always wonder, it's like, which website do you go to? Which one do you look? Who's got the information? If it's all in one spot, and with, some of the things that I'm probably looking for as a customer for my team, that's helpful.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not going away. We know that the PPE is going to stay here. Jeff, have you and the team, how are you guys seeing people use it? And does it seem like folks are really planning for the long haul in keeping this in their teams and clients' hands?
Yeah, well, I would say it's the long haul planning hasn't really started yet, unless you're talking about a very small number of clients. who, like I mentioned, in the hospitality service type industries. I think a lot of our customers are really still trying to just kind of get their arms around it. And a lot of this has to do with, timing of the different phases that we're in getting back to work. I think that, the long-term planning is something that we can help with, and it's something that, every business is going to have to kind of decide for themselves. What are their tolerances, what makes sense for them with their clients, with their employees, but no matter what they choose, we've got the resources to help them out and actually maybe help guide them a little bit as well, because we work with other clients, and it's nice to be able to have all of that resource to bring to bear.
Definitely. So, Jeff, last week, for those of you that joined us last week, we talked about kits. And that since a lot of people, especially, if you're here in King County, Seattle area, we're just have barely cracked, kind of tiptoeing into opening. And we still have a lot of people asking about kits. Yeah. What do some of those things look like that people are building, and maybe if they're not sending to the office, maybe sending still to work from home employees?
Yeah, the kits are definitely an item or a collection of items, I should say, that are probably going to be part of that long-term planning we just discussed, Tricia. An at-home kit, you think about, most of us are still in the early phases of returning to this normal society. Working from home, team engagement can be a challenge. It has been a challenge, and it continues to be a challenge with people isolated, especially when we're 3 months into the whole stay-at-home order. It's, and things have begun to open up again, but there's still, most people are working from home primarily. So you think about a kit that, and it could be full PPE, it could be several masks, it can be sanitizers, it can be a thermometer for people to use at home, it could be touch tools, things of that nature. Or it could be, a collection of maybe a few different PPE items, and then some other fun merchandise items to kind of go along with that. So the kits can be varied as far as what they contain. There's no set type of kit that you have to do. We do have some ideas on our website, again, on kits that have PPE in them. But that's going to be a big, I think, moving forward. And as we continue to work from home, team engagement is so important. And we're able to put together different options for our clients. It's a thoughtful and relevant team morale gift for employees, as we work from home and continue this process through this pandemic.
Thank you. I think, there's lots of things floating around. There's lots of things we're all thinking about, but I know as a team, we have all been working on this and educating ourselves and trying to help the best that we can. I wanted to check in because it doesn't look like we had anybody respond for our gift kit. So if you would like to win our PPE kit with the soapbox soap, the sanitizer, 2 masks, please pop in your full name and your email address. Will get this sent out to you. And Jeff, I think at this point we do have a couple of questions, and I know between the two of us we can kind of volley back and forth, but the first question asked is, can you walk through the range of quality of masks from high to low? And which masks are the most effective against COVID? Is there any info on masks with filters that are more effective, which is better? Sure. So, right.
Well, from an efficacy standpoint, and what's the most protective from COVID, and keep it from yourself and from others. And again, this is from the CDC. This is from the research we've done. This is not from me. There's different levels. The medical style masks, not the N95s. You hear about that a lot in the news. And N95s are for first responders, medical professionals. We do not have access to those, nor do we sell them, because they should be going to the medical professionals. There is the KN95, which is a very similar product that we can certainly provide. Those are unbranded, but from an efficacy standpoint, that's kind of at the very top of the pyramid. And then, the 3-ply type masks, again, that medical style. And then many of the masks that we're doing these days are they're multi-ply, like these ones, for example, but they also have an area, and this is not all, but some have an area where you can, fold a piece of, like a paper towel and add another layer to them. So, from an efficacy standpoint, it's still those medical style that are the most, but they're disposable and they're non-branded. And I've worn those and they're not very comfortable. They're not very breathable. Most of the people you see, out in the stores and everything are wearing, masks that are maybe fabric similar to what we're showing here today.
Great. That's helpful. And again, I'm just going to echo what Jeff said earlier, because we do have a chart on imagesourceteam.com that lays out exactly what he just talked about. So if you go to ist.com, you go to our PPE link page and then scroll to the bottom, there's a quick chart right there that tells you all the things that Jeff was just talking about. Jeff, the next question, I'm kind of going to ask and answer because I've been building a lot of these. It says, what PPE products would you include in a back-to-work employee kit? And I have personally been doing a lot of those for my clients, and some of them are back-to-work kits, and some of them are still that we're working from home, but we want you to have these tools. So if you do have to go to the office, or you are going out someplace and you don't have a resource necessarily for a mask or those sorts of things, back to work kits that people have been getting ready to put on folks' desks oftentimes are including, if it's not a branded mask, it is at least 2 or 3 of the medical type style masks. There's hand sanitizer, and we've also been doing gloves. And so sometimes those kits that are landing on people's desks when they show up back to work are really more of what you were talking about, Jeff, earlier. It's that utilitarian, get get that stuff in folks' hands, get them protected and ready to go. What we're seeing now with the turn in our suppliers and doing the masks and the full color and the different decoration and different things is we're seeing folks doing morale gifts that include PPE. So still protecting, still talking about what's relevant and where people are at in their lives, whether it's at work or out moving about in their communities. And that's maybe a t-shirt and a couple of masks, or different work from home tools, batteries and chargers and cords and all of those different things, and the masks. Hand sanitizer is still one of those big pieces that's going in there too, because folks are packing around with them everywhere. And we are building those kits here at ImageSource. All of the pieces are coming in and being custom packaged to send back out to either folks' offices and dropping on their desks, or to their individual, homes or alternate addresses that they have provided. I have another question, and Jeff, I'll throw this one over to you. We had somebody ask, what PPE products is ImageSource using for their employees?
Yeah, that's a great question. Certainly the masks that we just produced, and I think Tricia just debuted that to everybody at the same time. We're still running a skeleton crew at ImageSource. We're fully working every single day, but most of our team is at home right now. So, we're doing the social distancing certainly in the office. We haven't felt the need to put any sort of floor, social distancing, any sort of stickers or floor decals down. And we're not a walk-in storefront, so we don't have any need for acrylic barriers or anything like that. So we're pretty much at this point sanitizers. Certainly, everyone on our team has many sanitizers that we provided, and the masks is the next step that we're going to provide, and people can wear those at their discretion.
Perfect. And I know our team has just kind of we obviously just now have the masks, but you see folks walking around with lots of different things. I've got surgical masks. Lori in our office has been making fantastic fabric masks for everybody. So everybody's comfort level. If there's no more questions, and still no winner for the kit, email us back later. Somebody can still have a kit. I wanted to thank everybody for joining us for our second live stream. And I also wanted to let you know, keep an eye on your email, keep an eye on your newsletters, as well as our social media and our website. We are going to continue with these live streams as the summer goes. And the next time that we do one of these, we're actually going to be inviting our premier manufacturing partners to come in with us. And so what we're going to do is really and what we like to call an end user type of experience. And so Mackenzie Hansen from Gemline is going to come in early July. So like I said, stay tuned, watch for that. And she's going to be talking about different trends, eco-responsible products, social responsible products, and kind of giving us an idea of the types of things that we're used to seeing. What are the new trends, and how do we take care of our teams, our clients, with not only PPE, because they're a fantastic supplier of that, but with also thoughtful, relevant, functional branded merchandise that we're all doing most of the time anyway. So with that, I'm gonna turn over to Jeff to give a send off as well. But thank you very much.
Thanks, Tricia. And actually, while you were talking, we actually got another couple of questions. So I'm gonna answer those real fast.
I didn't see those.
And then we'll wrap up. So someone asked, do you have those plastic looking shields for faces? And the answer is yes. You know, we have suppliers who can provide those for us. Typically, they're not done with any sort of branding on them, but yes, that's a PPE item that we can provide.
Actually, Jeff, I'm gonna usurp you on that, because I have done those pieces with branding on them. We've been doing them for our casino teams to start, but I know some other retail folks and people that have front desk facing or customer facing are doing those, and we don't have to do them branded, but we can.
Right. Okay. Thank you for usurping.
Probably not the right word, but it's not coming to me this morning.
Whatever works. The last question we have is, are you able to ship individual kits directly to people working from home, to employees working from home? Yes. And if you saw our last week's topic, was virtual events, and we discussed a lot about how we go about using technology tools that are safe to collect data like that, personally identifiable information, and we have a great process for sending to individuals' homes. So please reach out if you have a need. We can certainly help with that. So, and it's just about 10:30. So I just wanted to leave everybody with a thought. Tricia and I and your team at Inventories, we would love to not only, Tricia talked about, bringing suppliers to kind of show their merchandise and do kind of virtual end user shows. But Tricia and I would also love to, if there are any other topics that anyone wants to see covered in a future live stream, we're comfortable tackling just about any issue. So if you would like to make a suggestion, please send us an email, myself or Tricia or anybody here on the team. If you're working with an AE or even our support staff, would be great, and they'll get that message to us and we'll put together content for it. So just want to leave everybody with that. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I think that's a wrap for the PPE live stream.